Okay, let's just jump right in because we're about to unpack a puzzle about wealth that completely flips the script on what most of us think success is supposed to look like. And it all kicks off with one simple, kind of surprising question about cars. So, think about it for a second. When you picture someone pulling in $250,000 a year, or even more, what car are they driving? You're probably picturing a brand new BMW, maybe a sleek Mercedes, right? But here's the thing, the data tells a completely different story. So what is going on? Why are so many of the highest earners driving the most, well, boring cars? And yeah, the numbers absolutely back this up. Just look at this breakdown. We're not talking about a few people here or there. This is a massive majority, 61%. That's not a fluke, it's a choice. It's a strategy. And it reveals this powerful, kind of counterintuitive truth. Trying to look rich is often the number one thing that stops you from actually being rich. Which brings us perfectly to our first big idea, the millionaire's parking lot. We're about to completely shatter this myth that you can tell how much money someone has by what's parked in their driveway. So let me paint a picture for you, one you've probably seen a million times. It's a regular corporate parking lot. You've got your gleaming new luxury cars all lined up. And then, over in the corner, there's this, a decade-old Honda Civic. We're talking faded paint, a nice dent in the fender. What's the first thing that pops into your head about the person who drives that car? Yeah, our first assumption is probably that they're struggling, right? Maybe living paycheck to paycheck. But here's the kicker. The reality is absolutely mind-blowing. The owner of that beat-up Civic, he has $4.2 million stashed away in index funds. His house is completely paid off. He could literally walk into his boss's office tomorrow and retire. That car isn't a sign of struggle. It's a symbol of his strategy. And get this, he's not some weird outlier. The data shows that the median price, so the dead middle of the pack, that a millionaire pays for their car is just over 31 grand. They see a car as a tool to get from point A to point B, not as a billboard for their bank account. So the big question is, how on earth does this one simple decision make such a massive difference? All right, so how does this actually build so much wealth? Well, that brings us to the hidden math that car dealerships really hope you never ever think about. And it all comes down to one word, depreciation. Okay, let's run the actual numbers. Let's say you decide, you know what, I'm going to treat myself. You buy a new mid-range luxury car. Sticker price is $48,000. You sign the papers, they hand you the keys, you get that new car smell. It feels great, right? Well, in the few seconds it takes you to pull out of the dealership and hit the first traffic light, your shiny new asset has already lost about 20% of its value. That's nearly $10,000 that just, poof, vanished. Evaporated into thin air before you've even made your first payment. It's insane. So you've basically got two paths here. The new car buyer takes that massive financial punch right to the gut. They often go underwater on the loan immediately, meaning they owe more than the car is actually worth. But the person following the millionaire protocol, they play a different game. They let someone else take that huge depreciation hit. They swoop in, buy a reliable 5-year-old car, drive it for years, and then often sell it for pretty close to what they paid. They're not burning their money, they're recycling it. And the long-term impact of this is just staggering. Instead of pouring money into an asset that's losing value every single day, you invest the difference. The average new car payment is over $700 a month. If you invest that money over a career, you're talking about an extra $270,000 in your retirement account. That is the real cost of looking wealthy. But this strategy is about so much more than just saving money. It's actually a defense mechanism. It's like a secret defense system for your wealth, where just looking ordinary becomes your own personal superpower. There are two huge strategic benefits here. First, by not advertising your wealth, you make yourself invisible to predators, scammers, thieves, you name it. You're just not a target. Second, it gives you this incredible leverage in all your day-to-day transactions. And that first point isn't just a hunch. I mean, the data is stark. Affluent individuals are a shocking 43% more likely to be victims of identity theft. A flashy car is basically a giant blinking sign that says, "I've got money, come and get it." Flying under the radar is your best defense. And as for that second point about leverage, look no further than Warren Buffett. People always say his modest lifestyle meant he was never overcharged. You know how it goes? A contractor sees a fancy car in the driveway and the quote suddenly gets a little higher. Looking ordinary gets you the standard rate, not the unspoken wealth tax. And this all leads us right into the psychology of money, what we can call the looking rich trap. This is all about the hidden costs that quietly drain your bank account and keep you from ever building real, lasting wealth. It really boils down to something called the Lifestyle Multiplier Effect. It's this idea that one big luxury purchase never just stays one purchase. You buy the expensive car, then you feel like you need more expensive insurance. Then the repairs are way more costly. And then you start to feel this pressure to make sure your clothes, your vacations, your home all match the car. It's a spending spiral that's really hard to escape. And this slide just perfectly captures the two opposing mindsets. On one side, you have conspicuous consumption. That's buying stuff to signal to other people how successful you are. The goal is to look rich. On the other side, you have prodigious accumulation. That's buying things for their actual use, for their value. Here, the goal isn't to look rich, the goal is to be rich. And that difference is everything. So if the goal isn't the fancy car, what is it? What are we even working for? This brings us to our final and honestly most important section, what wealth really buys. It's about redefining the entire purpose of money, shifting our focus from possessions to freedom. And this right here, this is the absolute heart of it all. True success isn't measured by the stuff you can show off. It's measured by the options, the choices, and the freedom you have bought for yourself with every single dollar you decided not to spend on appearances. So what does that freedom actually look like in real life? It's the power to walk away from a toxic job you hate. It's the quiet confidence of knowing you can handle any financial emergency without panicking. It's having the choice to retire years or even decades before everyone else. If you want to sum it up in one word, it's optionality. It is control over your own life. So what can you do with this information, like right now? Here's a simple little action plan. First, just take an honest look at your current car. Is it a tool or is it a status symbol? Be honest. Second, actually run the numbers. Calculate its true total cost over time. And third, next time you're in the market for a car, just seriously explore that 5-year-old car strategy we talked about. And I just want to leave you with this one final thought to chew on. Your car, its whole purpose is to get you from point A to point B. We get that. But the real question is, what is your wealth for? Where is it taking you? Because the ultimate destination isn't a bigger house or a flashier car. It's a life of freedom.